Hi, kids who are all currently in the room, but we'll record anyway, just in case you want to watch it later. It's Thursday, May 15th, with your book. On your book, just giving you a heads up with, if you have your book, make sure you have written name on it because we have issues where they disappear. When you write name on it, you want to write it on the big hardcover because if you write your name on this page, kids will rip out that page and now your name's gone. So I'm just trying to help you not be the kid that learns the hard way. I write mine on the front of it in Sharpie because then it makes it much, much tougher for someone to make disappear. I recommend not doing it in pencil because that is just as easy to disappear. If you have not written your name on it at all, brave move unless you've already taken it home. Other than that, as far as my yearbook goes, you're more than welcome to sign it starting next week. I will be having it back over yonder or on my desk, and then while I'm going over and teaching stuff, you're welcome to sign it, and I will talk about that. I am also more than happy to sign your yearbook. You have two choices with me signing your yearbook. You have the fast one, and you have the long one. I'm happy either way. If you just want me to sign my name, I'm more than happy. You can just bring it up and I'll write my name in there and you're good to go. Or I'm more than happy to write you a message. But if I write you a message, you have to leave it with me overnight because I don't have time during the day because I'm doing this thing called teaching all day. And so I don't have time until the school day ends. But if you leave it with me, then I can do it at night and then bring it back to you the next day. So you have time. We still have school year left. So if any time you want to, I'm happy to. If not, I'm fine with that one also. Just wanted to cover yearbook issue. Any other issues with yearbook?
Nah.
Yay. Wish you luck on that one then. Today is your last best of 7th grade. There is no best next week. Today's best is normal. You are not meeting with day of service or anything along those lines. You will be with your normal best group. Next week, no best. Week after that, no best. So after today, the next best you have is going to be in 8th grade. And so much for giving that to your younger sibling.
I'm hungry.
Either that or you're just going to give him the stick.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That was my group that was up there in the picture from
Krista!
I should have your mom.
Again, I will not be selling these tomorrow because you won't be here. You most likely won't see me tomorrow unless you're one of the kids in my group threatening me. Yes, I see you threatening me. Other than that, you'll just sort of see me. Ooh, in the afternoon, we do have activities, so you'll probably lay eyes on me, but you're not going to be in my room. We won't be in the same room again until Monday. Monday, I'm more than happy to hand these out, or Tuesday for those of you who want them, or you can keep your points. I am doing movie after school today. If you are wanting to join us, just go to the LGI. You're welcome to put stuff in your locker, or you can bring stuff to the LGI and put it in the back. I tested it yesterday after school. Everything is working. Got the DVD player, got the movie. We'll have it playing. So it should be working fine. And time-wise, we should get done, as long as I can get it started, like right at 4:15. We should get done like right at 6 o'clock. And then you can go out to parents. I am also doing it Monday after school. You are more than welcome to stay for that one too. I figure I have to tell you today because I won't see you tomorrow to tell you it's on Monday. And if I wait till Monday to tell you, that would be the same day and that's kind of rude. So I'll tell you today. If you want to stay after Monday, that's fine. I will do it 2 different days to try and help you guys out. Kayla.
What's the difference between the regular one and the director's cut version?
The director's cut actually follows the book. The one that was released in the theaters did not. It sort of went. We're watching the director's cut, and it does have 3 curse words in it. So, just letting you know, some of you may need to cover your ears or just run out crying. I understand.
Is there a concession stand?
I checked concession stand at the end of basketball and wrestling season. They closed it and took everything out. Because I tried to, and I was like, hey, I have kids who want to spend money. And they go, we want their money, but everything's gone. And I'm like, yeah, kids aren't going to give you money for nothing. So I have a vending machine we can go to, so that's sort of like the concession stand, and that's fine. But I don't have actual concession stand.
There's a vending machine here?
In the teacher's lounge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If you stay after school for activities, teachers can take you in there, but some teachers like kids and some don't. At the end of class today, before I forget, I need to take a picture of those of you who dressed up in your sporty things. I just forgot before I started recording, and now I can't do it because I'm recording. So at the end, I'll just make sure I get a quick picture of you guys so I can give you credit for that. Today, we are going to do the reunion scene. For those of you who have gotten to the page 200 and you got past reunion scene, I brought in reunion scene, so we can talk about it from there. Tomorrow, you won't see me. Monday, we're going to talk about the whole ending of the book. Tuesday, we're going to have final testing thing and go over and talk about it from there. Elena!
Couldn't you just stop the recording and then take a picture?
I could, but then it might mess up, and I don't want it to mess up to be safe. Because I've never done it before, and I don't want to test the camera. Hi, Madison.
Wait, so you're like 1,000% sure that I don't have to read and I can fail the quiz and my grade will stay at a 92?
If that's what you currently have?
Yeah.
Then yes.
Okay, I'm not gonna read that.
Okay. You keep telling me that like you're really proud of it.
Okay, I am.
Alright.
Thanks.
Then, as far as book goes to catch us up to reunion scene, we have Mad, and now Ed. We have them. See, I even tried to hook you up by putting them lining up on the side of it. I was trying to be creative. And then we got to sword fight, stabby. And then we got to crush you with rocks. And then I even looked up iocane powder.
Nice.
I know. And then we have my princess. There's my
This
iocane
dude's
powder.
insane, bro.
Mr. Bobby, can I join you out in the Actually, I can assist if I join you out in the
How do you build up resistance?
And then, well, it's going to be in just a moment. I'm literally like a minute and a half away. From there, we find out who Man in Black is, and Man in Black is
Me.
So that is going to bring us to this reunion scene, which for you guys is on page 177. And that is, I'm going to read what's in the book, and then I will read you the reunion scene and give you an explanation. Jude!
Can I use your scissors for something?
Yeah, just walk on that
Can I
side.
just use scissors to stab you?
Caleb!
Is iocane powder the same as Pukey potion?
Yeah.
Sure! You should definitely chug both.
Yay.
And then let me know how it works.
Try both.
Yes, I did.
I'm good.
Scientific experiment, right? We have a control group and an experimental group. And we'll see what happens to the experimental group.
Wait, we're in a science experiment?
Apparently he is. Hi, Evan.
We should all build up resistance to iocane powder, and then
How about
poison.
It starts with one brave person to begin.
Me and Evie do it.
I nominate a lot of kids in here.
I nominate
Elena.
everybody sitting over there.
I nominate Ben
No,
Tagon.
I nominate Tommy for the ice bucket
I know.
challenge.
Page
Bald head.
177. This is now, they have Wesley and Buttercup have now reunited. Wesley indeed had not the least idea that he was racing dead into the fire swamp. He knew only, once Buttercup was down at the ravine bottom beside him, that to climb out would take, as Prince Humperdinck had assumed, too much time. Wesley noted only that the ravine bottom was flat rock and heading in the general direction he wanted to follow. So he and Buttercup fled along, both of them very much aware that gigantic forces were following them, and undoubtedly cutting into their lead. The ravine grew increasingly sheer as they went along, and Wesley soon realized that whereas once he probably could have helped her through the climb, now there was simply no way of doing so. He had made his choice, and there was no changing possible. Wherever the ravine led was their destination, and that, quite simply, was that. At this point in the story, and this is Morgenstern, at this point in the story, my wife wants it known that she feels violently cheated, not being allowed the scene of reconciliation on the ravine floor between the lovers. My reply to her, and then this is going to be Goldman interrupting Morgenstern, who is interrupting himself. This is me, and I'm not trying to be confusing, but the above paragraph that I'm cutting into now is verbatim Morgenstern. Verbatim just means word for word. He was continually referring to his wife in the unabridged book, saying that she loved the next section, or she thought that all in all the book was extraordinarily brilliant. Mrs. Morgenstern was rarely anything but supportive to her husband, unlike some wives I could mention. Sorry about that, Helen. But here's the thing. I got rid of almost all the intrusions when he told us what she thought. I didn't think the device added a whole lot, and besides, he was always complimenting himself through her. And today we know that hyping something too much does more harm than good, as any defeated political candidate will tell you when he pays his television bills. The thing of it is, I left this particular references because, for once, I totally happen to agree with Mrs. Morgenstern. I think it was unfair not to show the reunion. So I wrote one of my own, what I felt Buttercup and Wesley might have said. But Hiram, my editor, felt that made me just as unfair as Morgenstern here. If you're going to abridge a book in the author's own words, you can't go around sticking your own in. That was Hiram's point, and, well, we really went round and round, arguing over, I guess, a period of a month in person, through letters, on the phone. Finally, we compromised to this extent. This, what you're reading in the regular type is strict Morgenstern, verbatim. Cut, yes. Changed, no. But I got Hiram to agree that Harcourt would at least print up my scene. Valentine has agreed to do the same, and now that this is back with Harcourt, they've taken it up again, too. It's all of 3 pages, big deal. And if any of you want to see what it came out like, drop a note or a postcard to blah, 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 blah. And just mention you would like the reunion scene. Don't forget to include your return address. You'd be stunned at how many people send in for things, and don't put their return address down. The publishers agreed to spring for the postage cost, so your total expense is the note or card or whatever. It would really upset me if it turned out to be the only modern American writer who gave the impression that he was with a generous publishing house. They all stink. Sorry about that, Mr. Jovanovich. So let me just add here that the reason they are so generous in paying this giant postage bill is because they fully expect nobody to write in. So please, if you have the least interest at all, or even if you don't, write in for my reunion scene. You don't have to read it. I'm not asking that. But I would love to cost those publishing geniuses a few dollars. Because, let's face it, they're not spending much on advertising my books. Let me repeat the address. Blah, 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 blah. And just for your copy, and ask for your copy of the reunion scene. This has gone longer than I planned, so I'm going to repeat the Morgenstern paragraph I interrupted. It'll read better. And so that's when it goes back to the wife talking about how great he is. So then now, here's what the reunion scene says. I have broken it up into chunks so that way you guys who like to read along can see it up there.
Wait, is that his?
Says, the reunion scene from The Princess Bride. This is what you get when you send in. Although now you can actually get it by email. If you email them, they will also email you back. Dear reader, thank you for sending in. And no, this is not the reunion scene because of a certain roadblock named Kermit Shog. As soon as bound books were ready, I got a call from my lawyer, Charlie. You may not remember, but Charlie's the one I called from California to go down in the blizzard and buy The Princess Bride from the used book dealer. Anyway, he usually begins with humor, wisdom jokes, only this time he just says, Bill, I think you better get down here. And before I'm even allowed a why, he ends right away, if you can. Panicked, I zoom down, wondering who could have died. Did I flunk my tax audit? What? His secretary lets me into his office, and Charlie says, this is Mr. Shog, Bill. And there he is, sitting in the corner, hands on his briefcase, looking exactly like an oily version of Peter Lorre. I really expect him to say, the Falcon, or I'll be forced to kill you. Mr. Shog is a lawyer, Charlie goes on, and this next was said underlined. He represents the Morgenstern estate. You're not going to know who Peter Lorre is. He's an actor from even before my time. But he was known for playing, like, really creepy guys. And so that's apparently what they're saying this guy who came in looks like.
That's not me.
It is not. But I thought me helping Tommy with his poor choice would help other kids with their poor choices. Apparently not wear a helmet to class.
What do you mean?
As it continues.
Can't use binoculars.
Who knew? Who could have dreamed such a thing existed in a state of a man dead at least 1,000,000 years that no one ever heard of? Well, at least over here anyway. Perhaps you would give me the... Oh, by the way, this whole Falcon thing is one of his most famous movies, which is the one down here where he played a guy trying to steal the Maltese Falcon. And he was known for his phrase, which was like, give me the Maltese Falcon.
Henry, stop bullying Ben.
I'm not.
Yeah, he actually has slightly more hair.
I said he looks like me.
No, you didn't.
Perhaps you will give me the Falcon now, Mr. Shog said. That's not true. What he said was, perhaps you would like a few words with your client alone now. And Charlie nodded, and out he went. And once he was gone, I said, Charlie, my God, I never figured. And he said, did Harcourt? And I said, not that they ever mentioned. And he said, oof, the grunting sound lawyers make when they know they've backed a loser. What does he want? I said, a meeting with Mr. Jovanovich. Now, William Jovanovich is a pretty busy fellow. He's the guy that owns the company that makes the books. And it's amazing when you're confronted with a potential multi-billion-dollar lawsuit, how fast you can wedge in a meeting. We trooped over. All the Harcourt brass was there. I'm there. Charlie, Mr. Shogg, who would sweat in an igloo, he's so swarthy, is streaming. Harcourt's lawyer started things. We're terribly sorry, Mr. Shogg. It's an unforgivable oversight, and please accept our sincerest apologies. Mr. Shogg said, that's a beginning, since all you did was defame and ridicule the greatest modern master of Florinese prose, who also happened to be for many years a friend of my family. Then the business head of Harcourt said, all right, well, how much do you want? Big mistake. Money? Mr. Shogg cried. You think this is petty blackmail that brings us together? Resurrection is the issue, sir. Morgenstern must be undefiled. You will publish the original version. And now a look at me. In the unabridged form. I said, I'm done with it. I swear, it's true. There's just the reunion scene business we printed up, but that's not liable to be a rush on that, so it's all passed as far as I'm concerned. But Mr. Shogg wasn't done with me. You, who dared to defame a master's characters, are going to put your words in their mouths? No, sir. No, I say. It's just a little thing, a couple pages only. Apparently, I'm not real familiar with it, but the Morgenstern, the guy who wrote the book, is one of the most famous people to come out of Florin. So because of that, the idea of him doing it was a bad thing.
It's not even a country now, though, so it doesn't matter.
Correct, but this was a while ago, yes.
Please help.
Right. You want me to make you stand?
No.
I'm sorry, you want me to charge you points because you're asking me about math in the middle of me teaching?
No.
Okay, just thought I'd check. Then Mr. Jovanovich started talking softly. Elena, why would you ask me to do math when I'm in the middle of trying to teach? That seems like a good way to get your... Oh, wait, sorry. Then Mr. Jovanovich started talking softly. Bill, I think we might skip sending out the reunion scene just now, don't you think? I made a nod. Then he turned to Mr. Shogg. We will print the unabridged. You're a man who is interested in immortality for his client, and there aren't as many of you around in publishing as there used to be. You're a gentleman, sir. Thank you, from Mr. Shogg. I like to think I am, at least on occasion. For the first time, he smiled. We all smiled. Very buddy-buddy now. Then, an addendum from Mr. Shogg. Oh, yes, your first printing of the unabridged will be 100,000 copies. So far, there are 13 lawsuits, only 11 involving me directly. Charlie promises nothing will come to court and that eventually Harcourt will publish the unabridged. But legal maneuvering takes time. The copyright on Morgenstern runs out in early 1978. And all of you who wrote in are having your names put alphabetically on computer. So whichever happens first, the settlement or the year, you'll get your copy. The last I was told, Kermit Shogg was willing to come down on his first printing, provided Harcourt agreed to publish the sequel to The Princess Bride, which hasn't been translated into English yet. Much less published here. The title of the sequel is Buttercup's Baby, S. Morgenstern's glorious examination of courage matched against the death of the heart. And you actually have the first chapter at the end of this one. They gave you the first chapter, which has been translated, and they put it into here. I'll get you in a moment.
There's 2 parts.
I'd never heard of it, naturally, but there's a PhD candidate in Florinese Lit up at Columbia who's going through it now. I'm kind of interested in what he has to say. William Goldman. And this was way back in like 1970 that this was first written.
Whoa.
Hi, Jude.
Can I help Elena with math?
Yeah, right after class. Have fun. All right. So then, apparently, when you were trying to do a thing at the time, you could not be able to get the reunion scene because of lawsuits and fighting connected to the fact that Morgenstern was the most famous person to come out of Florida. Then in 1978, if you wrote in, you got this part, which was an addendum or a PS that was added onto it. So starting in 1978, this is what they started adding to it. PS. I'm really sorry about this, but you know the story that ends, disregard previous wire, letter follows? Well, you would not know that. That is an old term from before my term. This goes back to like telegraphs. Well, you've got to disregard the business about the Morgenstern copyright running out in 1978. That was a definite boo-boo. But Mr. Shaw, being Florinese, has trouble naturally with our numbering system. The copyright runs out in 1987, not 1978. Worse, he died. Mr. Shaw, I mean. Don't ask how you could tell. It was easy. One morning, he just stopped sweating. So there it was. What makes it worse that the whole affair is now in the hands of his kid named, wait for it, Mandrake Shaw. Mandrake. Apparently Florinese have interesting names for their kids.
It's not interesting.
Mandrake moves with all the verve and speed of a lizard flaked out on a riverbank, which means they don't move very much at all. The only good thing that's happened in this whole mess is I finally got a shot at reading Buttercup's Baby. Up at Columbia, they feel it's definitely superior to The Princess Bride in satirical content. Personally, I don't have the emotional attachment to it. It's a hell of a story, no question. Give it a look-see when you have a chance. I agree, I don't like it as much as Princess Bride, but it definitely starts off with action with the main characters dying and stuff like that and the kidnapping. But it's still not the same as Princess Bride. Then, in 1987, there was another part that got added to it. And this is the final part that has not been changed since 1987. PPS. This is getting humiliating. Have you been reading in the papers about the trade problems America is having with Japan? Well, maddening as this may be, since it reflects on the reunion scene, we're also having trade problems with Florin, which it turns out is our leading supplier of cadmium, which it also turns out NASA is panting for. So all Florence American litigation, which includes the 13 lawsuits, has officially been put on hold. What this means is that the reunion scene, for now, is caught between our need for cadmium and diplomatic relations between the two countries. But at least the movie got made, Mandrake Shaw was shown it, and word reached me he even smiled once or twice. Hope springs eternal. Then William Goldman went up and died, and that pretty much ended it, and with him the reunion scene disappeared forever. And so there is no official reunion scene that was ever passed out, even though apparently it was out there somewhere because of lawsuits and all that. It's just no longer there. So there's the reunion scene.
I do a multi.
Why were there lawsuits? So they started off, the first lawsuit was because Morgenstern is the most famous person to come out of Florida. Even though the country's not around, the descendants are. And so because of that, they said I can't just take it, I can't take like a Stephen King book and then republish it under my name and then just like add stuff to it. That's illegal. And that was essentially what Goldman was doing. Abridging it is different. You're not changing it, you're just cutting chunks of it out. But if he were to add his own words, that's where it becomes like a legal. I'm a teacher, not a lawyer. This is what I picked up from that. But apparently that's where the issue comes in. And then after that, they just continue because, I don't know, people like to sue each other. I know this because kids tell me every day they're going to sue me for one thing or another.
I'm gonna sue you.
I told you
Are you
that
sued
one
for
time.
hitting
Mr.
me?
Broviac, you didn't let me do math in your class. I'm going to sue you.
You hit me, so I'm gonna see you.
Mr. Broviac, you smacked me when I was making a poor choice. I'm going to sue you. Yes, you can sue me for both my nickels. I don't know. Then I'll be down to 0 nickels. Hi, Jude.
So, I do think that is technically illegal, because, like, you are technically taking someone's book and just...
You mean the abridging part of it? I mean, it happened, so there's every chance that maybe some laws were broken and they didn't have an issue with that one. All I know is the book got made and the movie got made and I got to read them and I was happy with it. And then from there, we'll go to the fire swamp. But now I'm going to take a quick picture of kids in here who are dressed up in sporty things.
Elena,